swear I do not believe it. And they are back on terms.
Hello, welcome to the Rotherham United podcast. This is an Easter Sunday special as we look back at Good Friday, which was not a Good Friday for everybody. Rotherham United related. Well done, Ben. So Ben's here, everybody. Ben's back.
Yeah, I think I'm funny again.
I'll tell you what you've been told before, Ben. Stop fidgeting.
I did. I went to put my ball back and I dropped it. That was my fault.
Okay.
Do you need some attention, Ben?
And Mick is obviously with us as well. Hello, Mick.
Hello. I'll try and be a little quieter.
Yeah. We'll be loud last time because you sound quite crap last time. So
Yeah. I'll shout up a bit this time.
I think we solved that, hopefully. 1-0 defeat on Good Friday, along with almost as bad as other results could have gone. I think Wednesday and Wycombe are basically irrelevant. I don't think we need to look at those too much. We need to be looking above us. Wednesday, Birmingham won, which we'll come on to. Coventry lost, which was the only saving grace. Derby won, so that almost puts Derby almost safe. And obviously they had the Sunday afternoon game, which Huddersfield picked a point, which is not far off. Saves them as well. We'll come on to them. We'll cover the Wycombe game, and then we'll chat about refereeing standards in the Birmingham game. So I think Nick's revved up for that one. No?
Yeah.
I think he might be. 1-0 defeat. I had a message this morning, Ben, from the Millwall podcast saying he thought a draw would have been a fair result. I'm a bit torn. What do you think?
We did not deserve to get a lot from that game. I don't think they did either. They were not good. I think we definitely got told to chill out on that, with the pressing, because even in the first 10 minutes, we weren't even pressing at all.
Yeah.
And I think that probably took a bit. People probably calmed down too much. The subs, I'm still baffled by, to be honest. But yeah, I've thought about it from every angle, and I don't know what the hell we were thinking, to be honest.
In which sub?
Hurst, Flojo. I don't see what the point was. Lindsay, why are we bringing on? We've already got 4 central midfielders on pitch, so why are we bringing another one on? I didn't get it. But I'm not a football manager. So.
No. I probably agree with Ben there, Mick, about what we deserve from the game, but their keepers pulled off at least one world-class save from Mickey at first half, and we've missed a penalty, and we could and should have maybe had 2 more penalties. So from that point of view, we should have got something.
It was a dreadful game, wasn't it? It was a dreadful game. It was, and we talked about this when we, like you said, you've talked to the Millwall podcast. We talked about it on their podcast. The fact that because they play those a similar fashion, a similar setup to us, that it was going to be like an under-10s game, and that's precisely what it was. It lacked quality. They probably had a little bit more quality on the ball than we did. They were able to find their man better than we could. But as a performance from both sides, I thought it was dreadful and a really poor advert for Championship. But first game back after an international break, it seems to happen every time, doesn't it? Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I don't know whether, picking up on what Ben said there about the lack of pressing from us, I don't know whether that was possibly a tactic because of the way that they played, because they press high. Yeah. If we press high, then it's just going to be a tennis match in the middle of the field, isn't it? So I don't know whether we tried to sit off a little bit and create some space. Either way, it didn't work. It was just dire to watch. But we have these games, don't we? Every now and again we pull one of these games out of the hat, and I wish you'd leave it in there, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's one of those games. We've got 12. We had 12 games left. That's one out of 12 gone, and that was one of the games that pre-match you're sort of thinking, if we don't win this game, it's not end of the world. It's away from home against a team who are 10th. Oh, that win puts them, I think, within 6 or 7 points, maybe 8 points of the playoffs.
Wow.
Which gives you an idea of the league we're in. All it takes is a moment of quality. And to be fair to Jed Wallace, the finish for the goal was fantastic, wasn't it, Benny? He struck it as sweet as he could have wanted.
Yeah, I mean, he hits it. Yeah, like you said, best could have won. And I still think it could have been avoided. But, you know, every goal can. So you just got to move on, haven't you, really? But, yeah, I'm not... Yeah, the first in from Barlas, I'm not happy with.
Yeah, we mentioned that. We mentioned that during the game. Barley's. I think in the second half, I thought he stepped into the role much better. There was, particularly the last 20, 30 minutes, when we started to have a bit more possession, Barley's looked better. But for probably the first hour, he didn't look like he could pass to his own teammate, mate.
No, he didn't. He had a poor game. He had a poor game. You know, for that very reason. You know, that role that he plays, that quarterback role, he just couldn't do it yesterday. Couldn't find a man. Certainly for the first 20 minutes, half an hour, probably first half altogether, all told, really. But you can't pick him out as being having a particularly bad day, because for me, probably 2 to 11, with the exception of Johansson, everybody had a poor game. Nobody stood out. You know, it was just a poor team performance. Is probably a better way of describing it. So yeah, well, I still don't think we got what we deserved from the game, but we'll come on to that. I think we deserved probably more out of the game than a draw, frankly.
Yeah, I agree. Really?
Yeah.
You agree, but then you...
I know, I just said, that was just a generic response, and I agree. But I do not agree. I don't know. You were the same game as me.
Yeah.
It's one of them that on another day, we win that game comfortably. If that Icky chance goes in, I think it was just before half time. If that Icky goal goes in, it is a completely different. It's the Bristol City game, and that first half went very much like the Bristol City game. It started off very bitter. The other team were in charge. Their captain even went off the same as they did against Bristol City, and then we have a chance just before half time. The difference is that the Bristol City keeper made an absolute mess of that chance, whereas Millwall's keeper pulled off a stunning save.
It was a world-class save.
That was the only difference between the Millwall game first half and the Bristol City game first half. Although we were probably slightly better against Bristol City, but they're very, very comparable in terms of how the first half went. As soon as we go behind, we'll come back into it.
Oh yeah, they shouldn't have even scored. I mean, going back to their goal, it was professional keeper getting beat at his near post. I know it's a good strike and all this. Obviously I've said before I'm not a keeper. What's the first thing you're taught as a keeper? Not to get beat at your near post. Never. You should never get beat at your near post. From what I remember, anyway.
That's true.
It is a bit more difficult because he's coming across effectively from his front post all the way across to his back post. I accept he shouldn't have been beaten, but it's not just a standard. He was stood there.
What?
He had to get across quite quickly.
Like 5 yards. I don't know what to go.
I mean, it is harsh to blame Johansson for the goal, but I think he could have done better as well. He's had time. The balls come right the way from the other side. I think it was from a corner, weren't it? I think, or across from a corner. You know, from the time that ball's coming across, he could see where it's going. He could walk across to the other post, sit down, have a fag and a cup of tea, and still have time to stand up. So I think his judgment there, and like I said, it's being harsh. I know it is, because it was a fantastic strike, and it would have still taken some stepping had he been in the right position. But, you know, it is what it is. You can't... Yeah, he made a mistake. I think he's made a mistake in terms of his positioning. However, you know...
I think Barlas has got... If Barlas sprints out to him, I know he's not the quickest guy, right? He probably, you know, Mickey, you could probably outrun him. You know what I mean? But
probably.
He's jogging. Like, come on.
I think he got caught ball watching as well. I think Wallace was Barlas's man. And I think he's got caught watching ball, and Wallace has seen that and seen a bit of space. And I think whoever was on the ball misjudged it as well. But I think that's to do with the wind. I think the wind played a bit of havoc yesterday.
Listen, it's a great finish. It's a great finish, and we are really nitpicking here. You know, looking to find we fall into that trap of looking for somebody to blame for stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
There's always just someone to blame, but
yeah, you
it
know,
is.
the
If
bottom
everyone
line
does
is-
their job, if everyone does the job, that don't go in. Barlaser sprints out and the Hansen's in the right place, it don't go in. I know it's harsh and very, very critical, but you have
I
to
don't
be,
blame
you?
Barlaser for not pressing the man, because what Barlaser did was he protected the goal. He didn't go to the ball. He tried to put himself between the goal and the man.
Yeah.
Which I don't have a problem with. But the
It's
strike
the
was
jogging.
that good that it,
The jogging that does it me.
yeah.
possibly.
That's the one thing that anyone can do is sprint. Not everyone has the football smarts to do what Barlaser did, but to jog is inexcusable.
Yeah.
Can I just bring you back to a comment that you've just made there, Ben, that I'm going to be using in a bit if everybody does the job.
Yeah.
Just bear that in mind. Just bear that in mind. And if you're listening or watching, bear that in mind.
Make a mental note of that. Yeah. There are 4 key decisions in this game for me. And we're going to talk about the one that went our way first and then come on to the other ones, because I think the first one is actually the last one, the penalty, which we got given. There was 2 players, I can't remember the names, number 5 and number 3, that basically, not quite sandwiched Smithy, but number 5 came in and won the ball. For me, it was number 3. The player came to the back mick of Smith, basically pushed him over.
Yeah.
And for me, and Ben doesn't disagree with this, but for me, number 3 has caused the foul and rightly given as a penalty for that.
Out of the decisions that you're going to be talking about here, it's the least of a penalty out of all 3 of them, if that makes sense. That doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. It's less of a penalty than the other 2, but I think it's still a penalty. You know,
Ben.
I've just watched it then and now. Nowhere near. Nowhere near. If that happens in a game that you're playing with your mates, you carry on playing, and you genuinely don't even think about it. I don't know. He's 6 foot. What is he? 6'4". He's took about 10 minutes to get down, so there is clearly no one pulling him down. Maybe he has, though. You've got to look about the actual reality of the situation. I think it's soft. I think it's poor from Smith. Either that or he's the most unbalanced athlete I've ever seen.
Which we know is not the case.
Which we know is not the case. So, I'm not having that. I think that's weak. I think it's poor. I think it's soft.
Where's that? And the other, we're going to come on to the other decisions in a minute, but in terms of all 3 penalty decisions, where does that? Is that the most, or the least, or the middle of the decisions?
Probably middle, to be honest. I think.
Fair enough. Cool. So on the penalty itself, Michael Smith took the second penalty in 3 games. This is the second penalty he's missed in 3 games. I don't think it's a terrible penalty. It's hit it hard, but I just think the area it's hit it into, if the keeper goes the right way, the keeper does save it. It's a big, strong hand. I know a lot of people do have issues with it, Mick, but do you have any issues with him, number 1, taking the penalty, and number 2, obviously wanting to score the penalty, but it's football, these things happen. That's my thinking anyway.
For me, this is quite simple, isn't it? He's taken a penalty. He's had the balls to stand up and take a penalty despite missing his last one, and he's missed it. Players miss penalties. Everybody who's taken a penalty professionally has missed one at some stage. I don't think anybody's ever had a 100% record. Players miss penalties. It's as simple as that. So we've got 2 choices as supporters now, haven't we? As a whole, we either say unlucky, move on, or we go down the let's sack him route. You know, let's stop him taking penalties. Let's stop him taking shots at goal. Let's stop him doing. You know, I mean, it depends which route you want to go down. He's had the balls to stand up and take it, hasn't he?
Yeah.
End of. He's missed it. We move on.
Yeah, and if anybody does want to play the blame game, then there's plenty of blame to go around. Because if you want to say Smith shouldn't have took it, well, all right. Well, staff shouldn't let him take it. Somebody else on pitch shouldn't let him take it.
Oh,
this isn't Michael Smith's fault. If you're going to go down that route, which we're not, you could blame everybody, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, you were going to say, Smith. Yeah, I don't want Smith having it. He missed one. We were going to put it on Barlaser, who's having his worst game for Rotherham he's ever had. What we're going to. What
are you going to do? Give it George Hurst, who don't like a footballer. You're going to get.
Who are you going to get?
Yeah,
you're handsome. Do you know what I mean? I think if you've got a problem with missing a penalty, go out there and do it yourself. You'll miss one. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. It's not like You know, it's just not as easy as it looks. It's professional. When you're playing with your mates and Sunday league, then yeah, because the keepers aren't very good, and that goes in. You know, so that goes anywhere below League 2 or League 1. That penalty goes in. I don't care who the keeper is. If you're playing below League 1, that goes in. I got no problem with penalty, with the actual penalty, not the decision, but the actual penalty.
You said that about Johansson taking penalty. I'm sure there's a full thread on Facebook where somebody's actually genuinely, it appears, suggested that he should have took it.
That's why these people on Facebook, isn't it? And they're actually working for
I might have dreamt that. I don't think I did though. I don't think I did.
Yeah.
He's took a step up. Same when Freddie missed the penalty earlier in the season.
Yeah.
He were happy enough to step up and take it. I think the Freddie one's the worst penalty, but at the same time, it was just one of those things. Keep it away. The issue with Smith was a penalty. If we are going to criticise the penalty, and I think it's right to criticise when somebody does something wrong.
Yeah.
The way he took the penalty, he couldn't have made it more obvious which side he was going to.
No.
You could, if you watch the replay, he looks where he's going to put it about 4 times, and then takes it and puts it in. So that's the only criticism I may have on that, Mick.
Yeah, well, like we said on live show yesterday, the only thing he didn't do was point to goalkeeper where he were going to put it. Yeah, I mean, he did everything but that. But he missed it, didn't he? What do we do now? We don't we?
Yeah. Another player who's coming for some flack is Richard Wood. He got sent off at about the hour mark. It basically fell over and fell onto Jed Wallace's foot, and then took him out, which then leads to him falling over just outside the box. Even if it's in the box, he gives a red card for that because it's not an attempt. He's not made an attempt for the ball. So either way, it was a red card. Only a game ban. I see a lot of people worrying on Facebook and Twitter. For a professional foul, is only 1 game. Only violent conduct would count for 3 games. Unless I don't think it's been sent off before this season. If it's your second red card, then you get an extra game for it. So he is only out on Monday's game. For him that's worried about that. Ben, for me, it's textbook red card. What do you think?
What else is it supposed to do? It's a red card. It's a red card. It's just a football incident. To be honest, it's they said in racing incidents in F1, it's a football incident. It's not meant to. Players not played for it. It's a red card. Woody knows it's a red card. No one were complaining. No one on the team were complaining. Yeah. Red card for me. And everyone complaining about him, saying it's poor that he's fell over. What did you say, Matt? About people having a go at him?
Yeah, people have had a go saying the way I read people's messages and texts is that he meant to do it. He definitely didn't mean to trip him up.
No.
The thing is, right, and the people who are criticising him, next time you fall over and trip yourself up, because I can guarantee everything I've got that next time that you will trip up in your life, the next time you trip yourself up, I'm going to be there screaming at you saying, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
No, but it is, isn't it? It is, isn't it? You laugh and you joke, but that's the reality of the situation. Like, we're human, we're not robots. Like,
once, Ben, you've made a very good point. Clearly. I like it, Ben.
Thank you.
It's impressive.
Do you think if he'd have trained his ankles better, he wouldn't have fallen over?
I mean, come on. I stand by that, sadly, a thing 100 million times, and I would not take that back, what I said about it, because it's true. But, yeah.
The only criticism can come, is that the player got in the position that he did pretty freely. I have watched the incident back, but I haven't watched it back to sort of see if there's any fault. But if he's thrown goal, that's not just Woody's fault, is it?
No, it's not. But like Ben says, it's one of those situations that happens in football, doesn't it? And I think he fell over, Woody. I genuinely do.
I'm certain he did. Yeah.
But fell over, did it deliberately, whatever. Does it matter? It's Mint Imperial, really, isn't it? He gets sent off. He's last man. It's a clear goal scoring opportunity.
So, you say Mint Imperial?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
This is sweet, isn't it?
It's immaterial, mate.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Sense. Why is that? What?
Mint Imperial.
Move on. People of my age will have heard that one before.
Okay. Before we come into the 2 penalty decisions, one positive from the red card, Mick, is that we didn't go weak I know we ended up conceding the goal. I can't remember we conceded the goal. We conceded after, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know we conceded the goal, but the way we played, we didn't drop in the way we played. Our second half was better than our first half, and that didn't go down after the red card. It went up in terms of performance. That's a positive to take away.
It shows we got it in locker, doesn't it? And it probably suggests that we were kind of holding back a little bit and not playing our natural game, and that's why a lot of players were anonymous, because they just weren't playing the natural game. So yeah, we were all right after that. We could and should have got something out of the game, but we didn't.
Talking of formation as well, one of the positives of playing a 3-5-2 or something like that is when you have a red card, you don't need to change everything. All we needed to do was just drop into a flat 4.
Yeah.
If you're playing 4-4-2 and your central defender gets sent off, you're having to change everything. You have to bring a striker off, put a defender on to change this, that, or other. That's one of the benefits of having this system, is that you don't have to change the entire system if something happens like that. That's one of the reasons I'm a fan of the 3-5-2. Finishing off the referee talk before we talk about a few more performances. Benjamin, there are 2 penalties to talk about, both on Freddie. I'm going to let you have free reign over both of them. Talk us through what you think.
First one is the Smithy one again. Just what you doing? Like, come on. Like, would you do that? Like, the thing is, what I don't get, right, is you play sports, you play football, you do all these things because you love the game, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're in that level and you want to win, right? But you want to beat the other players, right? Why would you want to cheat? There's one thing in school when you're cheating because you don't really care and you're not actually interested in exams and stuff like this, and you cheat just to think. When you actually enjoy doing it and you want to challenge yourself, why would you cheat? Why would you do that? I don't get it. He's dove, in my opinion. You can stand up and scream all you want. That just furthers my opinion that you say all you want. The second one's a nail done. The first one is dove. It's inexcusable. Like I said, he's a big lad. He's a big lad. One tug, he's not going to pull him down.
At that speed, it will. At that speed, it'll knock him over.
It weren't even a tug.
He didn't step across him before you say that. We're not having that. I'm not having that.
He shouldered him. He stepped across him with his shoulder and he's knocked him off his stride. Freddie's going for goal. That ball is bouncing free.
He's not getting there. He's not getting there.
He is if
he's not there. No, he's not.
In my view, he is. In my view, Freddie gets that ball if he doesn't get taken out there. No question at all. It's a shocking header from the defender. Puts his own defenders back into trouble. And that ball is going in back at net without any question. And that's why the penalty wasn't given. I'm telling you now, that's why it wasn't given. It wasn't given because that player made no attempt to play the ball. He was miles away from ball, and if he gives a penalty, that player has to go, and that's why it wasn't given.
I think the reason he screamed up and shouted is because he probably could have got to the ball, but he slowed down to play for the foul. Then the foul wasn't given, so now he's screaming at the referee. Honestly, he's poor, man. He's poor to appeal for that. I think
we've all seen people dive. And there's a way when somebody dives and doesn't get the penalty, they just sort of get frustrated. They don't get up and start running at the referee or running towards the referee. They just sort of stay sat down. And players know if they've dove and don't get the penalty, they rarely kick off about it. Very, very rarely.
Yeah. But if they could have scored, if they didn't dive, that's when they'll get annoyed. And then I don't think it was a penalty. That's what I think he's done. But,
I think it's well done. Second one, you think's pen though, Ben?
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of the same with Woody, where he's just a big lad who can't change direction, and he just tumbled into it. I don't know why it wasn't a penalty, but yeah. Yeah,
I agree. Which just makes it even more strange to me that the third one was given, because that referee looked absolutely adamant that he didn't want to give a big decision all afternoon, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And he didn't give the sending off, did he?
No, he didn't line up.
The linesman did it. The linesman did that.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you look at the referee's body language, when that foul happens, there's a camera angle from directly behind it, and the referee is doing nothing. The referee is not going to give that. I'm telling you now, he's not going to give that without the linesman sticking his oar in. So, for me, I'll be honest with you, for me, if he's going to give that red card, he's got to give the penalties. If he's not going to give the penalties, he's not going to give that red card. That you've got to be consistent, and this is the whole point of this. This is the whole problem with it, and this is why I get frustrated. And the bottom line is, like you said earlier on, Ben, if people do their jobs properly, yesterday we either have 3 penalties or we finish with 11 men.
No, I think he did an alright job, to be honest, apart from the Freddie penalty. Referee, I don't see you give the red card. He didn't give the other penalties. I don't think there were penalties, in my opinion. I wouldn't have given
the one that was. Other than the one that you said that was.
Yeah, I wouldn't have given him. I just wouldn't have. I can see where he's coming from.
We're going to come away from Rotherham. To explain why I think it should have been given a penalty, we are going to briefly move away from Rotherham United. And then we'll come back to the game. There's a couple of points of the game I do want to talk about. Birmingham City played last night. They eventually beat Swansea City 1-0. So thank you very much, Swansea City. We're doing us all a favour. We really appreciate that. Well done, mate. Well done, guys. Yeah. I didn't see the first penalty, but that was missed anyway. Jukovic hit it straight down the middle, and it was saved.
Now can I just say that is a penalty that I would criticise, and I would be on Facebook criticising if I ever went on Facebook. That is an awful penalty. To hit it down the middle is, come on, man. Grow up.
Yeah, if you're going to smash it, it needs to be either just right of centre or just left of centre. To hit it bang down middle, you're asking for trouble. I agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
But the second penalty, Mick.
We're not going to talk about the decision. Oh, did you not see the first one?
I didn't see the. You can talk about the first one. Go for it, mate. I mean, it didn't score, so it doesn't matter. But go on.
It's inexcusable. What it is so the ball's in the air about chest height, and they've both gone to kick it. The what they're called? Birmingham player has gone to kick it. The Swansea player has kicked his spikes, his studs.
Oh, I see that.
He kicked his studs, right? And then his other leg somehow gets taken out of balance. He must have got shot from somewhere, I don't know. Or, you know what I mean, some ghost must have decked him or something, because I don't know how that leg got up. And then he goes down screaming and it gets given. And it's like, are we even allowed to challenge people for the ball anymore? Or are we just going to say, nah, you have it, mate? I mean, it's not like you're in my own penalty box. Yeah, I've ball. Do you know what I mean? What's he supposed to do? Not go football? I don't get it. That wasn't penalty.
No. And then the second one I think it's bang on the 90th minute. The Swansea player has fell over. It's very similar to the Woody incident in terms of the player has fell over, and as him falling over, me and Mick agree. I think he's touched the underside of the Birmingham player's foot, and the Birmingham player's gone down as if he's been tripped up. If there was contact, and it's a big if, it wasn't enough to send him down. It wouldn't have sent him down in any way, shape or form. But this is what you talk about, Mick, in terms of people doing their jobs properly.
Yeah.
And consistency. You compare all 6 incidents, 4 in our game, 2 in the Birmingham game. How there's 2 penalties for Birmingham and 1 for us is just crazy.
Oh, we talk about the EFL and the National League and all these other talk about the integrity of the league, and then they allow crap like this to go off every weekend. You know what I mean? And do nothing about it until somebody criticises them for it, and then they fine them. That's what happens. Honestly, it absolutely boils my blood, this. It really, really does. Because if either of those 2 incidents in that Birmingham game were penalties, then certainly all 3 of ours were. Yeah. And there were probably 5 or 6 others for both sides yesterday at Millwall. You know what I mean? It's an absolute disgrace. And it's not a level playing field. It's not. No. I just, honestly, it absolutely infuriates me. That second one for yesterday, the one that Birmingham actually scored and managed to get 3 points for, and managed to pull themselves 3 points further away from us as a result of, in my view, there's no contact. And even if there is contact, he's taken 2 steps before he's gone down after the contact. Yet the referee cannot wait. He can't wait. He's already pointing at spot before bloke's gone down. You know what I mean? It's absolutely outrageous. It is. They're a disgrace, these people. Utterly, utterly useless. Week in, week out, game in, game out. If people did their jobs properly, we would not be in the position that we're in now. You know, we go into a game on Monday against Wycombe with a referee who doesn't know what 2 yellow cards is for. You know, it's the same referee that refereed our game against Derby who didn't send off the bloke who, whatever his name was.
I agree with what you're saying with referees don't do the jobs, right? But if people do the jobs, meaning players, we aren't in this position either. So you cannot criticise.
I agree with you.
Without saying players, because if the players play well, referee decisions don't matter.
Yeah, they
so
do.
You said that. You look at Reading game, both Reading games, Forest at home. Who else do we play at home? But we've got another bad decision.
This is the thing. As fans, we can always sit here and criticise the referees, but when we go down, it doesn't matter. Like nothing's going to happen. Nothing will happen. So what's the point of complaining? Just play better. That's the only reason. Because once it's all said and done, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to do anything if the referee's decision go our way. If the players do the jobs, we stay up. So you can't say it's the referee's fault.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it, Ben. I'm not.
Come on.
I get what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. I do agree with you up to a point. Okay, but if you look at the 23 people that are actually physically on the pitch. So the two teams and the referee, okay, out of any of those jobs, the easiest one is the referees.
No.
Definitely. It is, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Because it is as simple as that. It just is. It's black and white. Their decision making needs to be black and white. Is it a foul? Yes. Is it a foul? No. Is it a throw in? Yes. Is it a throw in? No. It's black and white. There should be no discretion here. You can't bring discretion into this. Is it a foul? Is it not? It's simple. It is simple. The difficult part is the positioning and everything else and making sure you're looking in the right direction, which obviously seems to be very difficult for some of these people. But it is the easiest out of the 22, 23 jobs that are on that pitch. And they can't get it right. They can't get it right minute to minute within a game, let alone game to game. And it's just it's unforgivable. It is, and you're right. Nothing will happen if we go down, or when Wycombe go down, when Wednesday go down, whatever it is. Nobody will care. Nobody will care how many points have been lost due to the ineptitude of people who should be doing their job right. Nobody will care, and those people will carry on refereeing at the same level, pulling the paycheck every weekend, and just causing grief and costing clubs money. Because they're not doing the job properly.
The issue is, Ben, and the problem the way it comes to me is, if you're telling me that those two penalties unfairly aren't a penalty, I don't agree, but I can accept that. But don't go and tell me that both them Birmingham penalties are penalties. Yeah, because you can't. You can't have it. It makes right. It's not a level playing field. You got one referee at Millwall who did not want, and I don't mind. He did not want to make a big decision. I don't really have a problem with that. But then you've got the same person 3 hours later who cannot wait to give a penalty twice.
I know.
That's not level.
You cannot say, I understand that, and that's poor, right? But to say that we lost or we've disadvantaged by 3 points because the referee's not doing the job, right? If everyone does the job, your Hansen saves it, your Barlasser blocks down, Smith scores his penalty, Freddie gets a penalty, Smith scores his penalty. Who else had a chance? I can't remember. Icky gets whatever. Right, yeah. That's 1-0 to us. That's 3 points. Referees' decisions do not impact us whatsoever, apart from the Birmingham game.
2 more penalties.
Nah, I'm not buying that. But to say...
If you're talking about rules at Birmingham, we should have had 2 more penalties. If you're using that level, if you're using that bar, we should have had 2 more penalties.
I'm not happy for this, right? But if we use this as an excuse for the end of use this to say, if we go down at the end of the season and say, yeah, we've gone down because referees haven't done their job, that's an excuse. You can blame everyone all you want, but the player's fault. It's the player's fault. It's everyone at the club's fault. Nobody else. You've got to take full responsibility. To say it's anybody else's fault is ridiculously immature.
I don't agree with it, Ben.
It's his fault. No, you do your job, you score penalties. I'm not criticising Smith scoring penalties, but you score penalties, you play well, you commit to the game, right? We don't go down. So to say it's the referee's fault is Immature. It is.
Ooh. Right.
Yeah, because you're doing that to them. It is.
No.
It's an excuse.
All right. It's not. It's
What
not.
is it then?
And I'll tell you for why. You know, it would be an excuse if we'd had a couple of decisions that went against us during the season that cost us a point here or a point there. 2 or 3 decisions across the course of a season that went against us is reasonably what you should expect, what you can expect. But it's game after game after game, and it's even in games that we're not even playing in. You know what I mean? It is literally, probably, every single game that's played in the Championship, every single week. It's not acceptable. And I accept that referees are going to make mistakes. I don't have a problem with that. I understand that. I know that. I know. And we as football supporters have to accept it. But the level of the mistakes that are being made in terms of volume, in terms of quantity, the lack of any sort of consistency from one referee to another just beggars belief, quite frankly. And that is what costs us and other teams points. Okay? By definition, if it's costing you points, it's costing you games. No matter how many times you flip and score goals, it's going to cost you some points if you're not going to get the decisions. You're not going to get a consistency of decisions. I'm not saying that we're in a position where we are because of referees. That's not what I'm saying. Albeit we are, because if we'd got the decisions that should have been given, then we'd have had more points now, so therefore we'd be in a better position. But also, had we scored more goals and conceded less, we'd be in a better position. I accept that completely. But this is a debate that football fans have up and down the country, week in, week out, innit? Game after game after game. But for me, this season just seems to have been, it just seems to be off the scale in terms of incompetence, because that is purely simply what it is, incompetence. I
think yesterday magnifies it. Because of the incidents in our game and then the incidents in Birmingham's game, for us in the relegation zone, it just magnifies the situation. If you don't know anything about football and you watch those 6 incidents together, then you would assume that they're either all penalties or non-penalties. Does that make sense? They can't all be different things because they're all very similar.
Yeah.
Other than ours, I think ours are more penalties, but anyway, that's where we are. One final point on the game before we move on to Wycombe, because we are probably going to run over again today, as we do. We talked about it briefly on the live show. But I don't know if you guys have thought about this. It leads into Monday's game. I thought Freddie had a decent game, but can Freddie and Crooks play in the same team, and can you get the best out of them while they're both playing together? I'm now coming around to the opinion that I don't think they can play together and get the best out of both of them. Ben?
I haven't given it much thought, to be honest, because I just haven't. I don't know. Because they're very different. The thing is, they're very different players, but they just. I don't know what it is. Right, they are both. I don't know what it is. Smith just gives you something, and I don't. I'm not a football expert. I don't analyse football, so I can't really tell you in detail what Smith does and what everyone else does. But you could just see it that it just don't work, and I don't know why. Because Smith maybe gives you that pressing. I don't know. I don't think they can. But I don't see how you can drop either of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not making decisions, to be honest.
Mike?
Yeah, I think the problem with playing 2 up front and having Crooks in your team is that it doesn't allow him to get far enough forward, which is where he's more effective. He's not a sitting holding midfielder, is he?
No.
He's a number 10 almost. That seems to be the position that he seems to thrive on, or a false 9, or whatever you want to call it. So I think it's a difficult one. And I wouldn't want to make the decision either. To be quite honest with you, the decision probably will make itself over these next few weeks because there's so many games. So it may well be that some players are swapped in and out during the course of April, and we don't have to. It becomes a non-problem, because one week somebody will play, or the next week somebody else will play, or one day somebody will play, and then the next day somebody else will play. So, but I don't think they can play now. I don't think it doesn't suit. Their styles are not compatible for me.
Yeah, I completely agree. Moving on, we'll come on to our lineups. If you want to think about your lineups, how you think we're going to line up on Monday, we'll put the panel predictions out later, but we'll go through it in a minute. A couple of stats for Monday's game. Our record against Wycombe in general is not very good. We've lost the last 3 home games against Wycombe in a row, we've only won one of our last 10 meetings against Wycombe, but that one was earlier this season. And as we all know, we only deal in doubles this season, and we could do the double over Wycombe. So there are negatives in terms of our recent history against them, but there are positives in terms of our recent history in terms of this season. So it's going to be interesting. Tomorrow, a big milestone for Ben Wiles. It'll be his 100th game in all competitions, assuming he plays on Monday, for Rotherham United. It'll be Wes Harding's 100th senior appearance, and Barley's next start will be his 50th start for Rotherham United as well. Ben, are Barley's and Wiles going to start, do you think? Or what's your lineup going to look like?
I don't think Barlester should. I think if I was manager, I would not pick Barlester. I think his game was poor. And with the running we've got, we can't afford to have a poor performance because you're tired or whatnot. You need to be on. Like you need to be on. You cannot be slacking like that. It's harsh. I know the humans, but you need to look at the reality of the situation and what is happening. I think Wiles should. I love Wiles. I love his
I thought he did well when he came on against Millwall.
I love his attitude. If it's really hard, I imagine, to get put in positions like left wing back and right wing back and feel like you're almost, I don't know what the word is, feel like you're like you're not really wanted. You're just there to play the position, which I'm sure he's not. But that I imagine you can sometimes feel like that. And to still play that position with everything you've got and well for, I don't know what it's been now. He's been playing right back, left back, up front for 2 years or something, whatever it's been now. I just love him. I think he's a good player. I think he's going to be one of the best players to play at our club. I can't say enough about him. I think he should start. Even if you have to put him in net, I still think he should start.
Yeah. He didn't start against Bristol City, Mick, because of a slight hamstring issue, which gave us a chance to rest him. But then he obviously came off the bench on Friday. Again. It's tempting to make wholesale changes from the outside. When I say wholesale changes, I mean 4 or 5 changes, maybe 3 or 4 changes with the midfield and attackers. Would that be too much change? Do you think that's needed based on the fact that it was below par performances? Bearing in mind the options he's got to bring in.
It depends how Wycombe played, doesn't it? It's got to depend on what we can extract from the game based on our strengths against what Wycombe's weaknesses are, and that's how they'll approach it, won't it? So, he might make 7 changes, he might make none. I don't know. It's it's a guessing game for us all, really. Depends obviously whether there's anybody come out of there with any injuries from yesterday, from Friday. Sorry. So we'll have to wait and see. Just on Ben Wiles and the interests of balance. If I'll take the stance that some other people taking that he's not a very good player, and he's only playing because he's only playing because he comes from Romarsh, and I don't understand why people have got this massive loving about Ben Wiles because he's not very good. I just thought I'd take the opposite, the opposite social media stance. So I'm just quoting a few comments from some people.
I love him.
I do as well. I do. Absolutely. 100%. Class act.
Yeah. How are we feeling about the game? Because on Friday before the game, I was feeling really positive about it. They put it on Thursday, but I feel really positive. We're coming into this running. off the back of the win, off a good rest. We've got all these games in hand. I felt really down after yesterday's game, Ben. I felt it was one of the first times I genuinely considered that this might not be our season. We might be back down again. I suppose that's natural when we've lost. But how are you feeling before the Wycombe game?
It's a good question, that.
Cheers, mate. Try.
I haven't really thought about that, to be honest.
You think about out.
Yeah, but I don't really think about things like... I don't know. I haven't seen anything yet to suggest that we'll go down. Barlas's performance, if that carries on and that's supposed to start the team...
It's bothered you, hasn't it?
Yeah, because it's inexcusable. It's the one thing that anyone can do is work hard. And so, yeah. I haven't seen anything. If that spreads, then yeah. This 4-game week or 3-game week, whatever it is, 4 games, 8 days, or whatever it is, this is going to test everybody. I'll be able to give you a better answer to that question after this week. Everybody's reaction to the game and stuff like that. So yeah, so far I didn't see no, but football in it.
Mick?
Yeah, it could happen, couldn't it? I'm still confident we've got enough to stay up, but anything could happen. And like I've just had my rant about 10 minutes ago, you know, in all seriousness, part of what's going to happen is completely and utterly out of our hands. So some of the results of the games that we're going to play, the remaining 11 games, will be influenced by things that we can't control.
Like what?
Referees. And that's my issue.
Come on.
Well, they will.
Yeah,
They
come on. No, I want to speak about this as a human, as a grown man. Yeah, all right. Well, I'm not going to speak about it then. I'm not going to speak about it, but yeah, let's excuse.
No, I mean it is. I was fishing a little bit. I admit. I'll cop for that, but that is part of it. We have to bear that in mind, that there are going to be decisions that are made that we can't influence. So,
not only decisions, you've got to come up against teams. We'll come up against teams that are better than us. Brentford, for example.
Yeah,
we've got to try, but it may come to a point in certain games where we just get done by a bit of quality.
Yeah,
these things happen.
Yeah.
Yesterday's an example of we got done by a bit of quality. Yeah, there's other things that we could have done, but we did in the end get done by a bit of quality. Where if we had that quality in our team, we'd have won game or got some out of the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt really down after the game. I think the Birmingham result didn't help either.
Yeah, definitely.
Feeling down about that. But at least if Coventry had won, we would be in such a hole.
Yeah.
6 points off as closest rivals. I know you still got 4 games in hand. If you're 6 points behind, you need to win 2.
Coventry.
3 to Coventry, exactly. If that's the case, you need to win 2 of your games in hand, which is unlikely.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, but if we beat Wycombe and Coventry lose again, and Birmingham lose, and Derby lose, and Huddersfield lose, and then we go beat Huddersfield next Saturday, we're all laughing, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just it felt very reminiscent. I know it wasn't a 4-3 game. It felt very reminiscent of Good Friday 2 years ago when we went to Swansea and should have come out with something in the game, and our relegation rivals got a bit of luck and won. Yeah. There's so many similarities to that situation.
The thing is, this time we've got a lot more games to play after it.
I also think we're stronger. Mentally, I think we're stronger as well.
100%, yeah.
So, anyway, that's my depressing moment out of the way. I say that. Nick, have you done ref watch? Because if you want, I've got it in front of me.
Yeah, it's the same one who refereed the Derby game, isn't it? I can't remember his name now.
James Linnington. Yeah, he's refed us twice this season. Linnington, apparently.
Linnington.
He refed us against Derby. He was the man that didn't give the second yellow card to whoever it were. I can't remember his name now. I think it was Polish, that Polish guy.
That Polish guy, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. But he also refed us when we beat Wycombe 1-0. So we have a 100% win record whilst he's refed us this season. So, based on his Derby performance, he clearly doesn't want to give any big decisions, so don't expect any penalties on Monday for us.
No, not for us.
We'll
the thing is, The referee on Monday is going to be caught between Devil and Deep Blue Sea, isn't he? You know, who's he going to favour? Because they're both sides that shouldn't really be in Championship. So, you know, we might end up even getting a game refereed fairly. Could happen.
Yeah. Wycombe have just very briefly, because we're going long again, but Wycombe's away record is the worst in the division. They only have 2 away wins all season. And also on another positive thing, Wycombe obviously won on Good Friday. The chances of them winning 2 games in a row is pretty slim. And I hope they don't listen to this and play this to the players. But statistically, it's same with us. The chance of us winning 2 games in a row is pretty slim. From that side, statistics are on our side. But as we all know, football isn't played through statistics.
No.
So we've got to go and earn the right to play, earn the right to win. And I'm sure. Do you want to give your predictions very quickly on lineups? Because I said we were going to, and you just didn't. Ben, what's the lineup going to be?
Unchanged, apart from Barlasser out for Lindsay, in my opinion. I know Sunday back in if he's fit, but
I'd be amazed if it starts.
Yeah, I know, but apart from that, I wouldn't change it.
So you keep Freddie in?
Yeah. I thought he played well.
Nick?
I'm going to go same. Okay.
I'm going to change it and protect. Go on.
No, I'm not. I'm going to drop Giles as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'll bring Ben Wiles back in if or Trev Clark.
Clark, that's what I was going to say. That's what I'd do. I changed my answer.
I think I'd probably give Trevor Clark a start. And Giles needs to come off and go on bench.
Yeah. I'd change midfield. I would drop Freddie. Not against Freddie's performance, but I think you get the best out of Crooks, and I think Crooks is more effective than Freddie going forward. So I'd take Freddie out and put Lindsay in. So you got Barley, Lindsay and Wing as your midfield 3. Bring Wiles in for if you want. I don't mind that, and then put Crooks as your 10 right behind Smith. If Olsen is fit playing, but I don't think he will be fit. I hope he'll be fit for the bench. But you never know, he might throw a complete wild card and he might go to a 4-4-2 and stick Gio and Flojo in.
Yeah.
Who would see that going? You know what I mean? So, Gio's clearly not fit, otherwise Gio would have come on, I think. Friday.
Yeah.
But good to see Lindsay back on. I thought Lindsay did okay for the 25 minutes, whatever it was. I thought he did pretty well.
100%. Definitely.
Cool. So, please subscribe to YouTube, subscribe to iTunes, follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, wherever you get anything. Please follow us on there. Download the Fan Hub app if you haven't already. We're now 6th out of the 92, ranked 6th out of 92 on Fan Hub. So thank you all. Mick had another poor weekend, I think.
I went up a couple of places.
Yeah.
Up to 11th now.
I managed to get 10. I managed to predict 10 out of 11 correct. Because loads more people have joined, I managed to go down table.
Can you say?
Yeah. So yeah, do that, and then we'll be back on Wednesday probably.
It's a quiet week this week, isn't it? Let's be fair. We've only got 2 games this week, so it's a quiet week for us, to be fair. So
this will probably out on next episode. We'll probably out on Wednesday, reviewing the Wycombe game. Possibly Tuesday if we can sort something out Monday night, but I think that's unlikely. But then we'll be back out Friday morning for the preview of the Huddersfield game, and then a lot. We're on Sky, as everybody's noticed, 3 games in a row against Sky, Coventry, Birmingham, Borough.
Against Sky?
Yeah, we're playing against Sky. Well, it always sounds like it.
Yeah.
We're going to try and plan some watch-alongs for those, but the timings of them, particularly the Middlesbrough game being played at 6 o'clock, may not fit into our schedules, but we will try. If we can, to arrange some watch-alongs, because I know some people enjoyed those last time. So, thank you all for listening, watching. Please get involved in everything you need to. Thank you very much, Bennett. It was great to have you back for a full episode today. Even if you did fidget all over the shop.
You're welcome.
And Mickey, sorry. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you with us.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here. I'm assuming we'll probably be doing a live show after the Wycombe game as well, possibly.
What time is it? Sorry.
What, now?
No, the game. No, not now. Not now.
It's 3 o'clock off.
Oh, is it? I guess I'm on a Monday.
Mm.
It's good. Yeah. I forgot. I keep forgetting. I've got 2 weeks off for college, so I keep forgetting.
Will you still be up at that time, Ben? Finishes about 5ish. It's close to bedtime.
My afternoon nap. No. I'll still be up.
Cool.
Up
Right, thank you all. Yeah. Up the Millers. And we'll see you all, hopefully, to look back at three sunny points, hopefully. Cheers, Mick. Cheers, Ben. Cheers, guys. We'll see you all.
Pringle looking towards Odegaard. Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do